Up and running, and Villa Park is loud.
Hello and welcome to the Villa Park podcast. It's me, Rich, and I'm back for another successful Talking Tactics. Aston Villa made it 13 home Premier League wins in a row, beating Fulham 3-1 on Sunday. And to go through all of the analysis with me is our favourite football expert, Gareth. How you doing, mate?
Very well. Yeah, as you said, 13 home wins. What's not to like? It's going really, really well at the minute. And just that away form to sort out maybe a little bit, but we're on the right track, aren't we?
Absolutely, mate. Absolutely. Before we get into it, guys, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We are 22 away from 2,700. So, guys, you know what to do. And I think it's about 48% of you who watch these videos aren't subscribed yet. So, come on, guys, what are you doing? Get subscribed. It is my birthday as well today. So, make sure you give me a thumbs up and give me a subscription to help this channel grow. But yeah, Gareth, I just wanted to cover that because, like you said there, 13 home Premier League wins in a row. There is a bit of the away form situation to sort out a little bit, but we've been talking all week on various podcasts about, just enjoy it. Like, let's just not moan too much about anything. Like, just enjoy it.
Yeah, I think the trouble is, I think the analyst in me wants to be critical of little bits and pieces here and there. But yeah, no, I totally agree with you.
You're allowed to, though. You're allowed to when you've got your hat when that hat on.
No, you've got to enjoy it, haven't you? It's part of it. And I think as Villa fans, we're not used to it. When I was talking to one of my friends who's a Man United fan the other day. He's going through it at the minute, and it's like we've not as bad, but we've been there. We've been for those rough times at the Championship. We've all been there, relegations and all the horrible things. And it's so nice to look back and think to ourselves, look how well we're doing now. 13 wins on the bounce at home. It's funny because we're kind of going a little bit under the radar, even though people on various platforms or Match of the Day, whatever, they're talking about us. We're still seeing those tables, the top six, or top four, where we're not in it. So we're still a little bit sort of under the radar. Long may it continue.
Yes. Anyway, let's get into all the analysis from Sunday's game, because plenty of stuff and I think some learnings from the Forest game, albeit we were at home and as we've indicated, expected to win as such. But lots of things that you noticed in the game. And first up was how we set up out of possession. What was it that you saw there?
Yeah, we saw a lot of similarities as we do, and we're going to bore people a little bit with a lot of things. But let's take Brentford, for example. Brentford away from home, Thomas Frank, he said on Monday Night Football, he will always set his side up away from home with 3 at the back. So 5 across your back, if you like, But at home, he will always set it across with 4. Now, we don't tend to do that. We always have a 4. We've never seen a variation from Unai on that yet, have we? So this is probably what we're going to be sticking with. And yeah, it's like a nice sort of a flat 4, but it's really good how we transition from this shape, when you think about it, to Tielemans and McGinn right in central. It's a really sort of, and teams now are starting to figure out that it's a 4-2-2-2. It mainly is, but it's the out of possession shape where we look really solid at home. Away from home, for some reason, it doesn't sort of, it's still solid, but it's just not quite as.
Yeah. We might focus a little bit more on him later, but I was really impressed with how quick Tielemans moved across the ground, both to close down players and with the ball. Was that anything that you noticed, or anything that we can kind of take into future games with him?
Yeah, massively. I thought he looked really fit, the fittest I've seen him. I agree with you. It was noticeable, wasn't it? Even commentators were commentating that he was getting about the pitch here, there, and everywhere, making passes backwards, up and down. And that's a box-to-box Yuri Tielemans that we saw at Leicester, and that's what we want to see. He played his way into this side in this game.
Yeah, it was really good. Yeah, it was. Secondly, one of the points that we covered last week after the Forest game was almost the kind of lack of passing options when we had the ball and kind of being a bit pedestrian. You've put here staggered positioning and multiple passing options. So yeah, what did you notice that we were doing on Sunday with
Yes.
that in mind?
Yeah, so a lot of coaches, they tend to sort of create what we call diagonal lines from across the pitch. So from your right back to your midfielder to your other central midfielder across to your left back. So it's almost a bit like an asymmetrical shape, if you like. And your spare man is therefore your right back. In this situation, your spare man is therefore your right back. But I don't like this Kamara on this right-hand side. I don't think there's a need for it because I think the passing options when Kamara is in midfield and McGinn is pushed that little bit high, which I suggested we do against Forest in the last game, which we did, and it worked a lot better. But it starts to crowd out midfield, and I think that's what he's a little bit worried about. So Kamara obviously comes out to the right. We'll see that in the build-up in a little bit. But obviously, the passing's there from Konsa to Kamara. You can play into McGinn. McGinn can play out to Diaby or turn and play out to Tielemans, out to Digne, and we're out. So you're trying to create problems for the opposition. Can we make Willian, for example, confuse himself? What do we want Willian to do here? Do we want him to come onto Konsa? Do we want him to come onto Kamara? Do we want him to drop back onto Diaby? Because Diaby's now dropped into that half space. So it's about creating problems. Can we create problems for the opposition?
Yeah, perfect. You talk around kind of how we built up. So we've got first phase here. We'll come to second phase. What are you noticing here about what we were trying to do?
Yeah, we've done a lot on build-ups, haven't we? But we haven't done it, sort of broken it down into phases. And we're going to cover the first two and try and sort of make it up as we go along into the third and the fourth, if you look further up the pitch. But we saw a lot of it, and we'll see it on the passing network a bit later on. The build-up from Martinez was a lot sort of more frequent in this game than it was against for Forest. We didn't see, if you remember, we didn't see any passes, did we?
No.
See it was across the back four because we dominated possession. This game wasn't so much dominant in that aspect, but this is what we're doing. We're going from Martinez out to Powell, out to Digne, or into central midfield. And Kamara here in the first phase is in the middle. So he's alongside his partner, Louise, pretty much. He's an option for the passing and the thing. Cash is out wide, but Cash is obviously going to push up here because in the next slide, we're going to see where Kamara comes out to this right-hand side and makes up the back three, if you like.
Yeah, well, here we are. So this is the second phase. So yeah, Kamara out on that right-hand side. And yeah, we've got Digne push further up the pitch. And Konsa's almost taking that play setter, if you like, from taking over that from Martinez almost.
Yeah, the idea of it is that you're sort of trying to pin their fullbacks back with Digne and Cash, and Kamara is sort of because McGinn can go inside. Kamara can become that right back, if you like, if we're going to be that specific about it. But if you're not going to use Cash, he's just a decoy, which he is. He's just a decoy because we don't see him get on the ball that much. He's not like Digne and crossing the ball. So he's more of a decoy just to push that back so that we're allowing Kamara and we can sort of get an extra man into midfield and McGinn. Sometimes it works, sometimes it doesn't.
Yeah. And one thing with McGinn on that game on Sunday was, the Fulham players didn't seem to understand that if you engage with him too close, then he'll roll you. That's one of his unique skills, and that was what was beating him every time. Whereas sometimes teams are wise to it; they don't engage with him in that close quarters, and then that kind of means that he's not necessarily as effective to break the lines.
No, and I still think this is where Zaniolo gets the position right. And Tielemans did in this game. He gets that position right, Zaniolo, in that half space. So here we want to see him again drop a little bit, sort of next to Willian a little bit more. And we want to see Tielemans a little bit higher there. So they're covering those half spaces. And I didn't think we did that so well in this game, although it worked. But that's when I think Kamara out here is unnecessary because I really do think, and I agree with you, I think McGinn is better off when he's not central, but when he's in this right-hand side half space where he can turn, get on the ball, roll and flick it out to Digne or whatever, or play those through passes. I think what Fulham did get right is they bounced the midfield. They got the midfield. They got enough bodies in there to sort of try and stop that. But the technique and what they did with McGinn wasn't there, no.
Yeah. And in this slide here called Midfield Strategy. So how did we kind of cope with, because it was a decent battle at times. How did we sort of cope with it?
It was, and I think Fulham set themselves up pretty well. I think in midfield they sort of made it difficult for us. They knew that we like to play through central areas. They didn't get it right all the time. No, of course they didn't. But they set up in a 4-2-3-1. But Pereira had a free role. So what that entailed is sort of you've got Paulinho and Iwobi in the two CDM positions, if you like, but Pereira can drop off there. And this is almost like a three-man midfield, isn't it? So you could say it's a 4-3-3, the three wider forwards that we are out of shot. But Pereira dropping in did cause us a little bit of problems. And that's what happened. They changed it a little bit halfway through the first half. They tried to get Pereira deeper on the ball so that he could then get on that ball in these positions and switch balls over the top to the wide areas. Didn't quite work out for him like that, but I think we got this about right because we just let Paulinho have the ball. You can have it there, that's fine. We'll just drop off because we've got a high line, so we're good. So risk and reward.
Yeah, perfect stuff, mate. Absolutely perfect stuff. And last couple, here you've put mindful of the switch. You know, there was a couple of times where it worked, and they used a lot of deep runners. Like Robinson obviously ran through for their goal, and they tried to kind of combat that offside line. But yeah, you've got, you know, Bailey here, I think, and Cash kind of looking over their shoulder. Was it more that kind of just making sure that they could see their man on the outside?
Yeah, I mean, the reason why I've highlighted Conser is because he's got his arm up and he's looking over towards Cash. He wants them further out. He wants them further out to that right-hand side. And he especially wants Bailey to be where McGinn is on the opposite side. So we can see that McGinn is closer to Iwobi there, and we can see that Digne, okay, but he's pretty much on Deke or David Reed, I think it is on this left hand side. So he just wants them to be a little bit further over because they're covered in central areas. They're okay there. He just wants them a little bit further over because he knows that switch is on from that position. Manchester United do this a lot with Dalot and etc. They do this a lot. So he just wants them a little bit further over. And don't forget, this is after Bailey had come on. So maybe he just wanted to make him a little bit aware of his defensive responsibilities, which I have to say, Leon was exceptional defensively on Saturday. He really did do his job well.
Yeah, he was excellent when he came on, and obviously he's rightfully getting a lot of praise for the impact that he's having at the moment. And then finally, a better high line. Now, were we much more organised? I would say than against Forest in some parts. I know there was a fair bit of criticism. What was it specifically that you noticed about it on Sunday?
Yeah, it was. I think it was better for me because we didn't necessarily sit right on the halfway line. We tended to drop sort of 10, 15 yards, as we can see here, behind that. And we're all in the right positions here. We're all looking at the man in front of us, the direction of play. We're aware of what's behind us. A little bit dubious for Cash on this right-hand side, possibly, but he's got McGinn there who can make up the numbers there and they can drop off. But this ball's going to Pereira. And this is what I kind of mean about Pereira. He kind of dropped off into sort of his own half of the centre circle, if you like, and then made runs deeper from this. So you suggested it with Robinson, etc., and they did the same thing. So it was a better team. A better team might have exposed it, but it was a better line for me.
Yeah, I think as well, if you're that little bit deeper, it makes this pass that bit harder because obviously Martinez is playing that sweeper keeper role. So you've got to be really, really accurate with that because either we're going to clear it. Obviously, there's a risk of offside, but there's also Martinez, if his starting position is good, can get out to clear it anyway.
Yeah, I think especially if you're going to be, you've got to be sort of, the centre backs are not that quick. Conser and Pau Torres, reasonable pace, but let's be honest, Conser's fairly quick. Pau Torres not so much, but you've got to be aware and form. We saw the tackle on Willian by Cash early on, sort of late on in the game, and that's pivotal. So if you're going to play that high line, you've got to be able to cover off in central areas. For me, it still wants to be a little bit deeper for me, but it is what it is. Martinez nearly got caught out twice, didn't he?
He did.
So we've just got to be a bit careful about that.
Absolutely. But I think it's going to be that risk reward, like you said, mate, coming through. Guys, if you love this analysis, please do hit that like button, hit that subscribe button, help us on the road to 3K. We're literally just over 20 away from 2,700. It's my birthday, so make sure you like and subscribe as a special birthday treat for me. Right, just into our usual viz, just to finish up our analysis. So the usual stuff here in terms of the passing networks. Is there anything else that you noticed? Anything specific that you were kind of that took your eye in terms of this slide today?
No, I mean, I think what we can see, what we say about McGinn being more central and a little bit, and in previous passing networks, we've seen him just in front of Kamara inside his own half. That's probably where I'd prefer him to be, match it sort of opposite to Tielemans, if you like, on the other side of that centre circle, because I think that's where he picks the ball up a lot better in those sort of positions. So, yeah, and apart from that, a lot of sort of left-sided bias again, and Martinez involved in a lot of passes again.
Yeah. Are you at all slightly concerned about the influence that Diaby is having at the moment? Do you think this international break will do him good to have a bit of a rest, or are you kind of okay with everything with him?
Yeah, I thought he looked a bit shaky, didn't he, on Sunday? He looked he wasn't sort of comfortable on the ball that much, and I think he's just a little bit of a confidence thing for him. But he's almost a foil. He's almost a foil. But this is what we say when we talked about that other centre forward, didn't we, in the summer? And I think they do still need that centre forward. And Diaby, it's a difficult position for him. I think. I'm with a lot of fans. I'm kind of not here nor there, but hopefully it'll improve for him.
Yeah, yeah. And then the expected threat with regards to the passes contribution. Yuri Tielemans, yeah, nice and solid. Everyone was fairly, not too threatening, I would say. We've had higher scores, and then obviously Leon Bailey within I think it's the half an hour that he had, second in the list, which is great.
Yes, this is why we plot data and different things like this, so we can visually see if that player did. Hey, Tielemans, everyone fans says, well, Tielemans was great, one of his best games. It was, but what did he contribute? What did he contribute to the game? And it's there. The expected threat from the passes. His passes were really good, and we can see that passes the eye test on the pitch, doesn't it? His passing was incisive and it was good into good areas.
Yeah, yeah. And our XG shot map, I know we had a bit of a laugh about this with regards to Ollie Watkins is missing towards the end of the second half, but yeah, everything in and around the box as well, which is again we've noticed that quite a bit.
Yeah, we want to see a bit of consistency, don't we, in our shooting and where in the areas that we're doing it from. But yeah, the Ollie Watkins miss, I don't know. It was like he was trying to clear it. So I don't quite know what he was trying to do then. His look on his face when he sort of walked away from the goal was one of bemusement, I think. But yeah, he's got to put that away, hasn't
he? Yeah, totally. And finally, the timeline. Anything that's telling us in particular with regards to, with regards to the timeline of the game?
Yeah, obviously we can't see the own goal on there, but the two goals at good times, not long before half time and just after 60 minutes. That gives you the options then to make your substitutions on 65, sort of 67 minutes if you want to, because you're 2-0 up in the game, apart from the Jimenez one coming back, obviously. But yeah, some decent shots at decent times, and the two goals are the ones that we scored, but I think were at key moments in the game.
Yeah. Anything in the fact that only one substitution was made by Emery on Sunday? I know Moreno got 60 minutes for the under-23s last night, but obviously the likes of Dendoncker, Traore, Chambers not being used, Duran not being used. Was there anything in that for you, or?
I think he just wants to clean them out mentally and physically before they go on the international break, so that they don't get picked for their international sides. But yeah, a little bit thing about Duran. I think there are some issues going on there with attitude, from what I've heard, sort of are in and around. I think there's a little bit going on there, so it may be that with him. But yeah, it was a bit strange not to see any sort of substitutions. He usually makes a few, but maybe
I thought one or two of them looked a bit jaded, but they still saw it out. But yeah, it's just interesting with the January transfer window around the corner, whether he's looking for better squad players that are currently better than the squad players that we've got. It's going to be interesting to see.
Yeah, I think someone asked me about it the other day, and I think they definitely still need another centre forward to go alongside Watkins and to relieve Watkins of some of this stuff, because Duran, I don't think, is that person at that. I think that's fairly clear for us all to see. Diaby's not getting goals as he really should be doing, so they need to sort that out. And probably another right back and maybe another central midfielder. I don't know, but Tielemans has really sort of stepped up when he needed to. It's almost like day and night, isn't it, from what we've seen from him? So that'll do his confidence the world of good.
Yeah, fantastic. Well, look, Gareth, once again, fantastic analysis. Thank you very, very much Guys, do please hit that like button, hit that subscribe button. We're going to be back with plenty more analysis. We might even do some features on some players that could supplement Villa in the January window. So stay tuned for that. Where can everyone find you on X, as it's now called, Gareth?
Yeah, you find me at that great AJC.
Brilliant, brilliant. Well, look, thank you very much, everyone, for watching. Make sure you comment in, get involved in the comments. Let us know your thoughts on the analysis. Let us know your thoughts on how Villa are playing and what's going to happen after this international break. Thank you all for watching, and as always, remember, we all follow the Villa. Thanks, everyone.